Tonight's species is known for its brute strength and massive jumps. I also love that they can be caught both in the Atlantic and the Gulf of Mexico. The Florida state record was caught in the Gulf off of Panama City and weighed 1,046 pounds. If you haven't guessed it by now, we're talking about marlin here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Welcome to the Florida Insider Fishing Report, presented by Yamaha.
Thanks for tuning in for another week on the Florida Insider Fishing Report. We are already halfway through July, which means hot days, great fishing, lobster season coming up, scallop season on the West Coast, which the Fiffer crew and family personally got to partake in this past weekend, right, Rick?
You're absolutely right, Brie. You know, it was a fun time. We got a lot of cool little pictures to share with everybody.
Yes, we do.
It was good to be in Homosassa. We also had the Ozella Key Marina group join us. There's Gary himself holding his own personal bag. It was the best scalloping I've ever seen in the 4 or 5 years that I've been going. And as you know, we also are introducing the kids to scalloping as they grow up. Look at that little Mama Mia.
I know, she's so cute. And this mama got down there. I saw 2 or 3 every time I dove down. It was great. It was the best place to be. It wasn't hot. I was weightless. It was so great.
And you were towing her around in her little tote, floating tote.
I was. It was such a great trip. But now it's time to get down to business. We've got special guests in the house and winners in the studio from CCA Star and their families. And we're chatting it up about marlin today, which Dave has some help with over at the CCA workbench. Rick, I think you may recognize him a little bit.
Yeah.
Kind of resembles you.
How's it going?
Captain Ridge is in here with us.
We're
Captain
here.
Ridge
We're talking
Murphy's.
about blue marlins.
Yeah, man.
Come on.
We're going to catch some.
Between you two, I don't know.
I don't know who's going to do most talking.
I don't know. I just can't. We'll have to see. All right, well, there's no better place to start our marlin mania than in the Garmin Panhandle region where all the big uns are caught. So let's see where Captain Pat Deneen is sending us to catch them. Talk to us, Pat.
Hey, Brie, I believe that. I tell you what, the Panhandle and the northern Gulf of Mexico arguably has the best blue marlin fishery in the state of Florida, and it rivals many places in the world in regards to big fish. The DeSoto Canyon is 60 miles from home. The boats are getting faster, and these bigger outboards can get out to the fishing grounds in less than an hour after caught. Typically, a 600-pound class marlin is needed to win a tournament, and the crews have it dialed in, and they release several blues a day. Tuna tubes, live bait, directional sonar, and our offshore oil rigs have really changed the game in targeting blue marlin. Additionally, in the past year, the Oakland County have installed some fads north and south of the spur, which has provided structure for a consistent fishery for marlin as well as tunas. And where you find tuna, you're most likely going to find some blue marlins. Ballyhoo, sea witch, or islander combinations, black bars in medium to large sizes, and my favorite, a wide ranger in blue and white or blue and silver, are all popular trolling baits. And there's a photo sent in by Travis Smith of 401 Beach with a really nice blue marlin caught aboard the Paradise out of Destin. So yes, we do have some really good marlin fishing out of the northern Gulf. But definitely more accessible to the working man, as Ronnie Houston likes to say, the king mackerel fishing continues to produce this week. Kings are around nearshore bait schools, natural and man-made bottom structure, 60 to 200 foot of water, live cigar minnows, herrings, speedos, a bait of choice, either fish near the surface or deeper behind a downrigger or a trolling lead. Nose hook your baits on a stinger rig, but you can also go old school and troll a drone spoon or a diving plug. The kings are mainly running 8 to 15 pounds. And then moving inshore, tarpon fishing remains really consistent throughout the Panhandle. Captain Sean Chalker over in Indian Pass has been catching them around the Menhaden schools in West Pass, Indian Pass, and along the beaches of St. Vincent Island. He's fishing live and dead Menhaden on 100-pound leaders and large circle hooks. That bigger circle hook helps for weeding out the sailcat and the blacktip bycatch. Along the beaches to the west, in the clear water, you're going to need lighter leader and smaller hooks. I like to use 50 to 60 pound for the bite tippet and a 7/0 circle hook. And don't cast your bait into the fish. Cast your bait so the fish discover your bait. Stay off them and don't run your outboard. The Panhandle tarpon are running 60 to 160 pounds. And there's a photo sent in by Captain Nicky Carvel of Destin with a really nice tarpon that we had hooked and almost jumped in Nikki's boat. So that's a pretty cool shot.
Absolutely, it is.
Yeah, man, that's a good one right there. Finally, the big redfish are being caught on the bay bridges throughout the Panhandle. The Hathaway and Tyndall bridges in Panama City have been good for the past several weeks. The Mid-Bay Bridge in Choctawhatchee Bay fired up about 2 weeks ago, and the 3 Mile Bridge in Pensacola is really consistent. Sometimes if the redfish are pushing the baits up to the top where the surface activity and the birds will reveal them. When you find them like that, a Berkeley topwater bait like a hijacker is great for those circumstances, but most likely you're going to have to go deeper for them. So bunk trolling a live bait on a Carolina rig or mark them on your bottom machine and send down a croaker or a spot minnow, pinfish, a small mullet on a slip sticker rig. And there's a photo of a couple of nice bull redfish caught by Maddox Hales and Wainwright in Choctawhatchee Bay near the Mid-Bay Bridge. So those big bull redfish are definitely on the bridges inside the bays.
All right, thank you so much, Pat. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the blue water outrigger hotspots from the Panhandle region inshore, the Mid-Bay Bridge, and destined for bull redfish on live baits and swim baits. And then offshore, deep dropping 1,500 feet of water for swordfish east and north of the Patronus using strip baits or squids.
Proud of you.
Yeah,
you got it.
I saw that big word Patronus. I was like,
You got it. I'm proud.
I got it.
All right, let's troll into the Alta Equipment Company Keys region and see if Captain Randy Tao can help us get lucky with a marlin bycatch or two. Hey, Randy.
Hey, good evening, fish fans. You know, here in the Alta Equipment region, our blue marlin are caught offshore this time of year, usually from guys targeting dolphin. You know, not many guys will go offshore, especially in the Keys, and dedicate a day of marlin fishing, but we do have them. I have not heard of many blues being caught lately. It's just, I think we're in between moons right now. We have an upcoming full moon, I think, in the next week or so, and I'm predicting there'll be some blue marlin caught then. And also, I believe the Key West marlin tournament's coming up as well. I was talking to Captain Chris Trossett on his boat, Real Fly Charters, out of Key West, and that's where a lot of the marlin fishing happens this time of year, especially on Floyd's or Woods Wall down that way is a good area for guys trolling and also using live blue runners. He was telling me they had a tailing condition about a week ago or so, and there were quite a few white marlin caught on this color change, along with a few sails. But we do get some white marlin mixed in as well, but I thought that was an interesting report of the whites showing up down there here in the late summer like this. And he was telling me they had a pretty good bite on those, and that color change was kind of short-lived. It only happened for about a week, and it moved up this way, and it only happened a couple of days. Now it's gone, and guys are going to be back to getting offshore looking for those dolphins, and I'm sure they'll be finding some marlin soon. Going inshore on the mutton snappers, you know, this time of year, I love bottom fishing, and a lot of guys will target mutton snappers. And if you're yellowtailing, I always drop a mutton bait down before I leave the yellowtail spot, because anytime you're on the reef for any length of time chumming, more than likely you got a mutton snapper back there. He's not going to come to the surface and show himself, but always drop a bait down before you go. And then I like to also fish in the deeper water, 150 to 220 feet. I'll fish a long leader, usually about 30 feet with 30-pound mono for a leader. They're not really going to get you caught on anything. A mutton snapper isn't known to go to a wreck or go to a hole. So a lot of times they're not going to cut you off. So you can use a long, light leader, and you don't need a lot of drag to catch them. Braided line's a big help. Live bait is also a big plus. I like pinfish. Pilchards, cigar minnows, one of my favorite baits this time of year. And I have a photo of the Pink Lady Linda with her bucket list mutton snapper she caught recently.
Nice.
Congrats.
You're awesome there, Randy. I love the hat. Go ahead. Tell me what's happening inshore.
You know, the permit fishing this time of year gets cranked up quite a bit, especially around the moons, the new moon or the full moon. And a lot of times you can look at your tide chart. If you've got a Garmin GPS, you can pull up tides and currents. Now, it's going to show you what time low tide, high tide is, but it's also going to give you a graph. And in that graph, it's going to show you how high and how low the water's going to be. And when you see those spikes in the tide where you have a very big drop or a big rise in that graph, those are good conditions to go look for permit, especially on some of those outer edges in front of some of the bridges like 7 Mile Bridge, Bahia Honda, Channel 5. A live crab is going to work really well for you. Now, you can also find them in Florida Bay. You get those calm days, which we haven't had a lot of lately, but you get the mornings, especially when it's nice and calm. These permit will be in schools back there, and they're usually pretty easy to find from a distance because they'll be pushing away or they'll be tailing. And then you can also find them when you got good sunlight, then you can see into the water. I've got a photo of a doubleheader with a happy group of anglers I had the other day. Photo by Greg Poland, who caught me in a secret spot in the backcountry.
Oh, boy. All right. Tell us about the triple tails, Papa.
You know, the triple tails are just one of those fish that you always look around when you're driving from point A to point B. You know, they can show up really anywhere. It might be off the beach. It might be, you know, along a shoreline. You just don't know. But keep your eyes open for anything floating, especially their white bellies when you can see them. Have that light spinning rod ready with either a piece of strip bait on there. Maybe you got a pinfish you can cut up, or a shrimp if you have it. And these triple tails are a lot of fun. And sometimes when you find one, there might be some more with them. So I put my Rodan trolling motor down and I motor around and I look, because sometimes you might get into them really good. And it's a lot of fun. They're great to eat. And I've got a photo of Captain Donnie Benbow with Skins and Fins Charters here in Alamorada with a nice triple tail he caught doing just that.
Great report from the Alta Equipment Company, Florida Keys region. We're going to go ahead and take a look at your hot spots inshore. Permit. Look for the high, on the high part of the tide. Make sure that you have good visibility to see the fish in the water. Use small live crabs for your best results. And then offshore, dolphins. Start looking in 500 feet for the bird action. Be careful not to run past the fish and to be too deep out in the deeper water.
Or catch Randy in his secret spot.
All right.
Oh, no.
I wouldn't be careful of that.
Oh, I'm sure you know where it is. Exactly. Coinciding with the annual Hemingway Days celebration, it's time to sign up for the Key West Marlin Tournament, July 21st through the 24th in Key West. With $50,000 in guaranteed cash prizes, registration is limited to the first 75 boats, so head on over to keywestmarlin.com to secure your spot. And we're talking with your captain from the Fish Bites East region next, and then seeing what marlin catching tricks Dave and Ridge have for us at the Academy Sports and Outdoors, rigs and techniques at the CCA workbench. Gentlemen?
Yeah, that you said my whole line, but I think that your dad should probably be our sugar daddy for that marlin tournament in the Keys.
I think we should. We should definitely do it.
Yeah,
All right, let's
we
do
need
it.
a sugar daddy.
I got the guy to change the dates so that it doesn't coincide with ICAST for next year, so we're in.
We're in.
Come on,
Perfect.
Ricky. Here
Sugar
we go.
Daddy, here we come.
Sugar
Woo.
Briggle.
Sugar what?
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Contender Boats, always in the game. Fenwick. SiriusXM Marine. Weather, fishing mapping, entertainment. Penn. Let the battle begin. Stiffy. Innovators in shallow water performance. And Daiquiri Deck, Sarasota's favorite place to meet.
Your time on the water is precious. You return season after season to make unforgettable memories, fight a few fish, reconnect with friends, and recenter yourself. If you count on having this time, you need an outboard you can count on to power it. That's why boaters stay with Yamaha for the long run, for life. They know reliability starts here.
What started in the flats and bays has migrated offshore. GPS-guided trolling motor technology has moved to boats in the 35-plus foot class and allowed anchoring capabilities on most center consoles in any depth of water, from snook and redfish inshore to grouper and swordfish way out deep. Rodan Marine Systems has a GPS anchor to hold your vessel on location. Set it, forget it, catch more fish.
Every year, Noble Air Charter flies over 20,000 outdoorsmen and families just like you, economically, to over 300 Bahamian and Florida destinations. Noble Air Charter makes a substantial investment improving booking and aircraft route planning to create the most affordable and economical flight possible. And tomorrow, Noble Air's team will rise to the challenge to raise the bar yet again.
All right, we're here at the CCA workbench at the Academy Sports and Outdoors Rigs and Techniques.
Yes, sir.
With Captain Ridge Murphy. We should be able to talk a little bit about marlins as much as we've seen them. You're going to talk a little bit first about the bait and switch, because that's the funnest way there is.
It's the most fun you can possibly have on an offshore
So what does
boat.
it entail when you're doing the bait and switch?
Well, the main thing is you're just trying to get them as close to the boat as possible. So what comes with that is a lot of big teasers, stuff like this.
This stuff we got
or
down
like
here
dredges,
on the floor.
some squid chains. And then the ultimate goal is just get them as mad as possible, and to where you can pull it away from them and then eventually feed either a ballyhoo to them or even a like a mackerel.
The big pitch.
The nice thing is with the ballyhoo too, you got a backup. Because if you put a little chugger head on the top of here and he eats it, a lot of times they're so mad.
He'll come back
turn
and eat that
around,
little
he
head.
comes back, you're gonna have to feed him twice as long, but you have a backup, and they will do it with the.
Well, the whole idea
too.
of the bait and switch when it first started was Captain Skip Smith. He was trying to set world records, and he figured out that if he had all the line classes lined up,
it'd be a lot more selective.
Yeah, when they had a 300-pounder come up, hey, we can pitch him to 20 because we have a lady on board, and that 300-pounder is a 20-pound world record for the lady. And then they figured out after doing all that for the 8, the 10, and the 12, they figured out, hey, this is fun.
Yeah,
this is a lot more fun than waiting for a fish to come up and eat one of these lures.
Yeah, and there's a lot of other ways you can do it too. You lure fishing. Guys out in the Gulf doing a lot of live bait fishing too.
Right. Well, you've got to be, if you're going to be fishing for marlin, you've got to be good at all three aspects.
Absolutely.
You got to be good at that bait and switch. You got to be good at live baiting, and you got to be good at pulling lures, because at different times, all those things are the best
effective
thing. Yeah. Like in the Gulf of Mexico, because you don't get many bites, you want to go out there and you want to start pulling lures first. You pull your lures. If you start seeing things in the water,
covering ground, searching for the
fish. You're looking, because they can be few and far between sometimes. So you got to pull those lures because you can go fast. And then when you start seeing stuff, maybe get some white marlin taps on your big lures. You slow down and you start doing that bait and switch deal, because you can cover that area where there's a fish.
And be a little more selective, where it's a white.
Right.
He's not going to eat a mackerel, or he can, but he's going to eat the ballyhoo a little bit more better than he would.
A lot better hookup percentage on him.
Absolutely.
So then, once you've slowed down and you're starting to pick at the little blues and whites, if you find a nice weed line or a big mountain underneath the water, something that a piece of structure that you can sit on, and if you mark fish, Pat mentioned earlier about that new sonar that they've got now.
Yeah, that Omni.
They're looking everywhere, and if they spot one on that Omni, then that is when you put your live baits out. You slow down and you put your live baits out, because the live bait is the best bait.
Yeah.
Your hookup percentage is way higher than dead baits or lures. If you're fishing with lures, even with the way you got that one rigged there with the nice hook all the way back in the tail, that's how it should be. IGFA legal, your eye has to be in the tail. Even if you have it rigged like that, which is the best way, if you're getting 50% hookup ratio, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
If you get 70%, you're killing it with lures. But 70% is fairly easy when you're using a bait and switch.
Absolutely.
Because when they are enraged and they come up and eat that bait,
completely unglued.
The hookup, those little ballyhoos especially, go right down. And if you're using the circle hook, it comes in that corner and you're on. There's really no better way to do it.
Yeah.
I see you got some wind-on leaders out there.
Yeah, that's a nice way to kind of gauge how far you want it. With the chartreuse Dacron at the very end of your wind-on leaders, you can kind of have it in the clean wash, and when the fish fades off, the main thing is with the bait and switch, you just really want to pay attention to that actual bait in itself, and not watch the show that's going on here.
Right. If you're watching the bait, you'll never miss him eat it.
Exactly.
So
it's nice to have the distance. You know, you got a 30-foot wind on with the little chartreuse Dacron on there, and it really helps seeing it and knowing where it is.
They're also great for crews that don't get a whole lot of practice wiring fish and that sort of thing, because normally we have a 30-foot 600-pound or 300-pound or 200-pound leader, and when you're wiring it, once that swivel comes up, you have to put all that on the deck.
Keep your feet down, keep your arms down.
But if you've got a wind on, all that leader comes up into the rod, and you can just sit there and suck him up, and put a tag. Or let him go, cut him off and let him go.
Absolutely.
That's what I'd like to do. Maybe your dad will let us go one day.
Yeah, maybe next year at that Key West tournament.
Look at you gentlemen in your hula hoop, Marlin hula hoop over there. That was awesome. Rick, you proud?
He did make me proud. He did a good job.
Yes, he did.
All right, if you're headed out to find marlin in the Fish Bites East region, then you will find them, but you better be prepped with the right tackle and leader. Let's see if Captain Mike Holliday can help us out with that.
Hey, gang, you know, like the sailfish in my region, the last couple of years we've had an increasing number of blue marlin hooked during the summer months. The key to catching a blue marlin is targeting them with big lures or baits, and also having the right tackle to land a 200 to 500 pound fish. A lot of them are just hooked on incidental catches and hooked with 30-pound gear, and they're not even in the game. As a rule, you'll see more blues off Palm Beach County around Lost Tree Village, where the Gulf Stream comes in close to shore. But you'll also find fish around the atolls and the seamounts like Push Button Hill off Stewart, and really anywhere the bonita and small dolphin and blackfin tuna are congregating. You want to target the fish with anything from a big cone head lure in pink and blue or black and orange, I call it the Halloween color, or pull horse ballyhoo or rig Spanish mackerel like Ridge just had there, or fish live bonita or a large blue runner, something, a big bait that the fish are going to want to go after. And if you're going to do that, you want to be out deeper than 250 feet of water, because if you pull live baits in anything shallower, the sharks and the barracudas are just going to eat you alive. You can also run over to the corner off the northwest end of the Bahama Bank and target the fish around the tuna schools this time of the year. Average marlin in my region is going to be like 200 to 400 pounds. We do see some under 100, and we see some over 400. The other bite we got going on, the mangrove snapper bite, has been outstanding from Jupiter all the way up to Vero Beach, with the best action in 65 to 85 feet of water in places like the Shrimp Boat, the 65-foot ledge, Bethel Shoals. The best action seems to be around the natural reefs, which aren't getting as much pressure as the more popular artificial reefs. And the largest fish by far are coming at night. You want to anchor up or spot lock on your trolling motor, put out a chum bag and supplement it with small pilchards. If the current is light, you can chum the fish to the surface. Give it 15 minutes or so for the chum to pull the fish in. Then put on a pilchard, a sardine, a cigar minnow, a grunt plug. You can fish smaller baits on a 3/4 ounce jig head if you want to, just to get them down. If the fish chum up, just free line them out there on light tackle. The average mangrove is going to be 2 to 4 pounds, but there's fish up to 12 pounds in the mix. And just to give you an idea, here's a good one. Ronnie Lowe caught that big mangrove off of Fort Pierce. That fish ate a live blue runner on a flat line, and he was fishing with Captain Keith Grandchamp. So, there's some big ones, and you just got to plan for it or you're going to get rocked.
All right, tell me about the inshore fishing, Hollywood.
Well, there's been a good spotted sea chow bite in the Indian River from Middle Cove north to the 25th Street Causeway in Vero Beach. On the west bank of the river, you want to fish the docks and the undeveloped shorelines, places like Walton Road, Midway Road, and Torpy Road. And then on the east side of the river, the double bars off Middle Cove have been red hot. Bear Point's had a lot of fish. Queens Cove has a lot of fish on it, as does the Moorings Flat. Be on the water at first light, because the bite only goes to about 8:30 or so. Look for schools of juvenile pilchards with red fins or schools of mullet that are dimpling the surface. The trout seem to be around those bait schools right now. You can throw a 6 or 7 inch saltwater assassin shad in any of the darker colors, or you can throw a topwater plug or a dye dapper, or fish a live shrimp, a pinfish or a pilchard under a quick cork and do really well. The average sea trout's going to be like 1 to 2 pounds, but we're still catching some big ones. I saw 9-pounder caught last week. The other thing, the summertime snook populations moved into the inlets and onto the beaches with last weekend's new moon. All the inlets are full of snook right now, as are places like the Lake Worth and Juno Beach piers and Hope Sound Wildlife Refuge. Walton Rocks Beach has fish, as does the beach south of the South Jetty in Fort Pierce Inlet. Look for the bait fish schools along the beaches, excuse me, and work the edges of those schools with a copper juice colored 4-inch sea shad or an R&R pilchard jig. Either will work really well. You can also bring a cast net and a bucket to those places and catch a live pilchard, a threadfin, or a croaker, and just toss it back out. The average snook's going to be like 6 to 16 pounds. I got a photo there. That's Dylan Snyder. He was out at night, caught that nice snook on the 10-cent bridge. He was throwing a saltwater assassin, 4-inch gray ghost colored sea shad. So, that bite's pretty good right now.
Speaking of nighttime, anybody been bass fishing at night? Give us the report, bub.
The key for night fishing right now for bass is you want to be launching in the dark. You got to beat the heat right now. The bass bite at Headwaters Lake just continues to be the single most consistent bass fishing in the state for both numbers and big fish. I was talking to Captain Nathan Shellen of OkeechobeeBassFishing.com. He said he's on the water at Headwaters Lake in the dark. Then when the sun comes up, even just like the first crack, he's fishing the grass patches on the western side with topwater plugs, frogs, and swim baits. He's working those areas for the first 2 hours. Then he moves to the deeper holes or anywhere you can find moving water right now. The key is to fish the edges of the grass with prop baits and make sure you pause your baits. Same with the frogs and everything. Pause them for long periods. That's when the bite's coming. You can fish a June bug colored worm, rigged either Carolina style or Senko style. Just work it along the drop-offs in the grass, or you can flip a live shiner on the edges of the hydrilla. Let it just swim under that hydrilla mat. It's a 30 to 40 fish morning right now with a lot of 3-4 pounders in the mix, and fish seems like every day 8 or 9 pounders are being caught right there.
Man, Mike, that's a really action-packed from blue marlin to bass. You had it covered. Good job this week, bub. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
All right, bud, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the T&H Marine hotspots from the East region. Mike says the mangrove snappas at the Fort Pierce Inlet, shrimp, maharas, pilchards along the rocks on that slack tide, and then offshore sailfish in 100 to 120 feet of water off of Stewart, slow troll live sardines, pilchards, or threadfins.
Well, Floridians, if you've ever wanted to fish with Captain Rick Murphy, now's your chance thanks to Florida Coast Equipment. The grand prize winner will get a day of inshore fishing with Rick and 2 friends, and the second prize winner will have their choice of inshore or offshore fishing with the Fiffer guide of their choice and also 2 amigos. So head to floridacoasteq.com/fishing with Rick for more information on how to register, and good luck. It's
You can
fun.
also go to our website and just click through to it.
Exactly. That'd be cool.
If you can't remember all that.
Our website. For sure. All right, the Alvy Reels Northeast and R&R Tackle Southeast regions are swimming by. Coming up next on the Florida Insider Fishing Report. Plus, we're talking with our 2 big CCA star winners. So stay hooked, and we will be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Power Pole, Total Boat Control. Berkeley, your fish, our science. Bajío, fresh eyes for a rich life. Blue Water Outriggers, everything for your outdoor adventure. R&R Tackle, from our tackle box to yours. Florida Coast Equipment, Florida's largest Kubota dealer. Visit one of our 4 locations or online at floridacoasteq.com. And Garmin, plot your paradise.
An entirely new species of extreme predator is moving offshore. The Yamaha 5.6-liter V8 XTO offshore outboard. Extreme big block thrust and power in the industry's first direct injection 4-stroke. Quiet, efficient, powerful, and proven Yamaha reliability. More than an outboard, it's a fully integrated power system. The all-new Yamaha V8 XTO offshore.
Real Legends Performance Outfitters. All you need to feel comfortable on the water all day. Keeps you cool, dry, and protected from the sun. Real Legends Performance Outfitters. Durable performance technology at an unbeatable value. Shop anytime. Go to reallegends.com to find a store near you. The only reel with over 100 years of heritage. Alvi Sidecast reels allow you to cast over 150 yards with up to 900 yards of capacity. Alvi's state-of-the-art drag and 22-inch retrieve rate per wind is perfect for any surf challenge. Alvi reels are manufactured to best practice standards and are in fact so robust that the Alvi also comes with a 10-year salt and sand warranty. For more information, go to alvius.com.
As you can see, joining me now is Captain Lisa Fitzgerald from CCA Florida Star. Lisa, we got a couple good-looking lads here on the Pathfinder, so why don't you tell me what's going on?
Well, we have something monumental in the CCA Florida Star competition. We have 2 youth anglers in the West Marine Tagged Redfish division. And with us tonight is Dalton. Dalton, why don't you share with us a little bit about what happened to you?
Yeah, it was a crazy experience. Especially knowing I was the first one, and then when we got the fish in the boat and we realized that we won a free boat, it was awesome.
Yeah, you know, it's really cool. You won the Saltmarsh Skiff 1656 with a 40 horsepower Yamaha, Minn Kota trolling motor on the bow, Hummingbird electronics, and a shallow water anchor on the transom. And here we have Jude with us tonight as well, since it's a monumental occurrence. Fill us in, Jude, on what happened with you.
It was just really unexpected. Just me and my friend went out initially for tarpon, but the wind got pretty bad, and I was like, let's just go into the flats and end up reeling one in. And the first thing I thought was, it's not a tag, and then looked at it, and then I got the excitement.
Yeah, that is awesome. You know, these are 2 youth anglers. We have a total of 3 tagged redfish winners, but don't quit fishing because we have a Pathfinder and a Spider boat still available. $500,000 in prizes, $100,000 in scholarships. You can still be in it to win it. A month and a half of fishing still left, Rick.
Citrus County.
Citrus County and Flagler County. Citrus County was a destination county, and Flagler County helped us gather fish and put fish out, so both counties really great.
All right, so where do we go to get registered? I'm sure somebody's watching and wants the chance to win.
You know, you can go to our website, ccaflstar.com, get registered there, online, or you can give us a call at 844-387-7827, and we will register you right over the phone.
Guys, congratulations. I'm so proud of you guys. First and second of that history. There's been other guys that have caught fish, but they weren't registered. They didn't follow all the things that you got to do, but congratulations to you two. But Brie, we got to go to another region. What do you think about my new dudes?
So excited. Congrats again, you guys. I'm so happy that the youngsters are taking over. All right, well, we're continuing the excitement in the Alvi Reels Northeast region with Captain Tommy Derringer and seeing what we can hook up to this weekend. Are we going to get ourselves a Marlin, Tommy?
Definitely gonna catch you a Marlin.
Cool.
Brie, hey, congratulations to those guys. And, you know, one of those guys, dude, he's in my region, so that's awesome, man. Congratulations on that. You know, we have a world-class marlin fishery here in the Alvi Sidecast Reels Northeast region. There's not a whole lot of anglers really getting out there to do it on a regular basis. But, you know, we really do have some awesome marlin fishing. The most productive times of the year to fish for those marlin would probably be about mid-April through about mid-June, although you can catch them any time of the year. Now, they really seem to like the water temperature to be somewhere in that upper 70s to lower 80s. And, you know, I spoke with a couple of our resident marlin experts. They tell me that they catch most of their marlin in the Gulf Stream in the spring, and they're going to be looking for weed lines, temperature breaks, and current edges. Now, the bonus in my region is that you tend to catch some really big mahi as a bycatch when you're using those bigger baits or those lures like they showed at the workbench, searching for marlin that time of year. Now, if you're looking to catch a marlin right now, you're probably going to want to be closer to the east side of the Gulf Stream. Most of the guys are going to be fishing pretty deep, out to something like even 1,200 feet. So you're probably going to want to start at about 75 miles out and then head east. Trolling a variety of lures, especially those in a mahi color pattern, around 8 to 10 knots is going to be one of the more popular ways to go after them. And you can also drag horse ballyhoo, big Spanish mackerel, and other dead baits in that 6 to 8 knot range. Now, one little tip that most of those guys have told me over the years was that historically the best marlin bite is going to be a few days before a full moon, so you might want to keep that in mind if you're heading out there to fish for them. Now, staying offshore, moving on to snapper, I thought I'd do a quick recap of the short red snapper season we had last weekend. It was a great bite for just about everybody I spoke with. There were some really big fish, and it seemed like you didn't have to go very far to get on a really good bite. Even a lot of the nearshore reefs and wrecks were holding some really nice ones. Now, there's also some big mangrove and some nice mutton snappers that were caught as well and still being caught. Most of those fish are going to be in that 100-foot plus depth. Now, if you're heading out this weekend in search of a mutton or a mangrove snapper, you can use live pogies or live pinfish. Frozen sardines or chunks of Boston mackerels also work well. Now, there's a little cold water down deep from what I've heard in some areas, so you may need to fish the water column a little until you find the best depths to fish your bait. But I'll tell you what, there's been some big mangoes here in the last couple of days. But I got a photo here. This is the Davis boys who fished with me over the red snapper weekend. You know what? We caught those fish about 10 miles out. We were chumming them to the surface. It was awesome. They even caught a couple on fly. Really great experience with those dudes. Now, moving inshore, redfish. We've got an awesome redfish tide this weekend with an early morning negative low tide. The redfish are going to be doing their super shallow thing in the creeks and right along the banks of the ICW throughout the region. They'll be chasing some small shrimp and minnows. Just look for fish along the banks and the backs of those creeks. They're going to be backing and busting, and also along some of the small flats on the edges of the ICW. Small soft plastics like a saltwater assassin sea shad on a light jig or a weedless hook, that's going to be my go-to. Now, if you're going with a live bait, a mud minnow, if you can find them, mud minnows have been a little hard to find for sale. Those have been hard to beat as of late. The deeper water reds have also been firing this week on the same early morning outgoing tide. The bridges and the inlet jetties in St. Augustine have been producing some upper slot and some over slot fish. And I've got another picture here, guys. My buddy Brandon Maupin sent me this picture of a nice redfish that he caught under the Lions Bridge in St. Augustine. Brandon told me he's been doing best using blue crab, croakers, and mullet on that outgoing tide. Now, moving on to tarpon, I got a tarpon again this week. The bite has been pretty good, both inshore, at the bridges at night, and along the beach, in the bait pods, and behind the shrimp boats. Now, it's basically been Shark Week behind those shrimpers this week. There's a ton of sharks back there, but there are a few big tarpon hanging in there as well in those bycatch slicks. The better bite has been in the pogie pods. Now, those bait pods have been moving daily, so be prepared to possibly have to make a long run down the beach. But I'll tell you what, when you do find the bait, you're probably going to be rewarded with some feeding tarpon. Now, those beach fish, they've been most active early in the mornings until about 10 a.m. And then, like I always say, again, around the thunderstorms, if they move in, right after those thunderstorms, they get fired up. And I've got one last picture here. Captain Leon Dana sent me this picture of Brandon O'Hara with a big tarpon they caught off the beach in St. Augustine last week.
All right, well, thank you, Tommy. Good to see you. Thank you again for filling in for me last week. I was up in Destin catching tarpon for a future Sportsman's Adventure episode with Pat Deneen, so I can't wait to share that stuff with you guys. But it's time for the Strike Zone Hotspot, so we'll talk to you next week.
Bye, Tommy.
See you.
Tommy says that if you're gonna go inshore, guys, the tarpon are on the beach early in the morning, find the pogie pods, and then you'll find the poon. And then offshore, a good mixed bag of snappers, muttons, and mangroves in 100-foot plus depths throughout the entire region, Brie.
Oh, I was just up in Destin catching tarpon.
Yeah, I was just doing
we were all here working
It's my job to catch fish.
And you're doing
and then report to all of you.
A good job of it.
And
just
you.
jealous.
And you.
Jealous. All right, South Floridians, I have some good news if marlin is on your species bucket list. Apparently, all you have to do is just try to catch them in the R&R Tackle Southeast region.
That's it.
Isn't that right, Jimbo?
Oh.
That's right, Bree. Hello, Rick and Dave. If you don't fish for them, you're not going to catch them. And then we would catch a lot more here in the southeast region if we actually fish for them. Now, to target marlin and have a good chance at catching them, we like to use 50 or even 80-pound tackle. You want to use big baits like a rigged horse ballyhoo, mackerel, or a mullet, or medium to large lures. You want to use some good-sized hooks, 9/0 to 12/0 hooks, and 200 to 300-pound mono leaders. Now, when it comes to lures, there's a lot of debate on which colors and size to use, but in my experience, it doesn't really matter. Just whatever lure you happen to drag over that fish's head. Now, most of the blue marlin encountered in the southeast region, they're offshore in blue water from 500 feet on out. And when using natural baits, we troll at around 6 knots, and with the lures, we go in the 8 to 10 knot range. And then there's the occasional white marlin caught. Since they average in the 60 to 80-pound range, they can be handled on some lighter tackle. And most of the whites, they're caught in the winter and the spring on trolled baits and live baits intended for sailfish. And we average about 1 white and 1 blue marlin a year. But like I said, if we really fish for them, we catch a lot more of them. Now, I do have a photo here, and this is a picture of the last blue marlin that we caught aboard the Thomas Flyer, which was late last summer. This fish ate a big lure in roughly 1,000 feet of water. And we guessed him at about 350 pounds, so that was a good one.
Good
Now,
job.
since we're heading offshore looking for marlin, we might as well look for some dolphin along the way. There have been schoolies anywhere from 6 to 15 miles offshore, and they've been around scattered weed lines, and most of these schools have had birds working over them. And they really haven't been big schools. They've been more little packs, though. And then we've also been catching most of the fish on cut bonita and ballyhoo. And then when we come across the larger fish, we've been pitching live baits to them, small blue runners, pilchards, goggle eyes, herrings, whatever you got, cigar minnows. And then when the grass hasn't been too bad, we've been getting bites trolling small feathers, lures, and rigged ballyhoo. Now remember that dolphin have to be 20 inches to the fork of the tail to be legal. So if you do get some small ones, try not to beat them up too bad so we can release them and catch them when they get big enough. Now, moving inshore, bone fishing on the flats at Biscayne Bay has been good first thing in the morning before the water on top of the flats gets too hot. And also, as you know, we've had some rainy, nasty weather. So when the weather's good, that's when they've been biting the best. Look for tailing bonefish on the inside and outside flats from Soldiers Key south to Angelfish Creek on the outgoing tide. And then after the water warms, look for the fish on the deeper edges of the flats over light-colored bottom. And then late in the afternoon, or just after you have a rainstorm, which cools down the water, those fish are coming back on top of the flats. Best baits have been small crabs and crab pattern flies. A live shrimp will also get you a bite on those bonefish. And then the snook fishing has been good throughout the whole southeast region. Snook, they've been schooled up in the inlets, and they're also being caught around the piers and the jetties and the lit bridges and docks of the ICW. Like pilchards, herrings, mullet, and croaker, those have been getting bites, but any other good live bait will definitely work. They're also being caught on flare hawk jigs and soft plastics. And the inlets, they've been biting the live baits drifted near the bottom on any tide, and it's been best in the mornings and evening. And then around the bridges and the piers, the outgoing tide in the evening is when those snook are going to bite the best.
All right, thank you so much, Jimbo. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the R&R tackle region inshore. Catch and release tarpon and snook in the inlets and off the beaches. The beach fishing in the evening, both on live and artificial baits. And then offshore, head offshore in search of dolphin on the troll or with live and cut baits around the grass patches, debris, and bird activities. I lost my place when I saw the offshore one coming. I'm struggling tonight with trying to keep my mind because I have surrounded by these young guys that are doing it.
They're killing it. All right, Maverick, the official shallow water skip of CCA Florida, has stepped up in a big way. One lucky winner will take home a brand new Maverick 17 HPXS, complete with a 70 HP Yamaha motor, Rodan trolling motor, power pole, and custom Ameritrail trailer. So go to ccaflorida.org/Maverick to register, and one lucky winner will be selected next week, July 22nd, by none other than Captain Rick Murphy himself.
That's it.
Oh, shoot. All right, keep those lines tight. We're fishing the Rio Legends Southwest region coming right up, and heading over to the CCA workbench to scope out some Taco Marine new products with Dave.
Yeah, and we got this really cool new Alvy reel as well.
Nice.
Very light, very big, awesome.
flip and fling.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
I know.
Okay.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Have fun out there. Penn, let the battle begin. Alta Equipment Company, where uptime matters. Ameritrail, load, launch, relax. Rodan, set it, forget it, catch more fish. Discover Crystal River, Florida. Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin. Best lures, period. And Maverick Boat Group, makers of premium boat brands Maverick, Hughes, Pathfinder, and Cobia.
Yamaha's reputation for saltwater reliability is driven by the 4.2-liter V6 Offshore's 97% reliability and overall performance. Reimagined with new advantages like built-in digital electric steering for incredible responsiveness and exhaust rerouting for more powerful reverse thrust. The legacy of the reliable Yamaha 4.2-liter V6 continues, now more refined and capable than ever. Yamaha, reliability starts here.
Whether you like to ride the wind, find your secret cove, or reel them in. Plot your paradise with GPS Map Series from Garmin.
It's one of the most ancient forms of hide-and-seek known to man. And nobody knows how to play the fishing game better than the backcountry guides and offshore captains of the Florida Keys and Key West. Ready or not, here we come.
Well, we're here at the CCA workbench, and we're going to troll the edge with Taco Marine. And speaking of Taco Marine, Dave, look what I have here for you.
We're going to troll the edge.
Yes.
That was pretty good. Yeah, these are awesome. These are the 24-foot carbon fiber outriggers. And the reason that they can make them 24 feet is because they're made out of carbon fiber. If you try to do that with aluminum on a center console type thing, the length gets too long for the thickness of the aluminum, and you have a good chance of them bending or collapsing. But these fiberglass is so much more strong
24
and stiff.
Foot of love.
Look at that.
Look at this. And
they're the longest ones they've made yet. The GS 450 mounts. They'll go onto the GS 450, the 500, and the 500 XL mounts. And they've got a really cool twist and lock butt design on the butt. That's the 360 halyard collar, and what that does, you can run 3 lines on there, your triple halyards on these 24-foot outriggers. They got a UV resistant coating on them, clear coat that keeps it from messing up your carbon fiber. The stainless steel rings on it, like I said before, they collapse all the way down to less than 9 feet,
which is perfect because when you're storing your boat in your boat barn or in a garage, your contender. We had these on the 35. It worked out perfectly because we didn't have to take them off.
Yeah,
we could still get it in the boat
right.
barn.
Yeah, and those 360-degree halyard holders are awesome, and they got the locking pin design on the very butt. You just put it down in there and give it a twist, and it sets down in there and it won't come out, which is what you want. So get you some of those Taco Marine outriggers.
Graphite. Where do we go to get those?
TacoMarine.com.
That's my boy. Okay.
Next, we got some saltwater G Juice that used to be called the U2 Pro Formula. It's a live well bait fish booster, and if you got bait in your live well, or if you have a fish that you want to take back for the weigh-ins, put a little of this stuff in your live well, and it takes away all the ammonia and the nitrates and the chloramines and heavy metals, and it pretty much just reconditions the water and makes the water really good for the whatever bait or bass or whatever you're taking for your redfish back to the
when we were doing the redfish tournaments, we would use this because so many times we'd either be running through water that potentially had red tide back to the spot, or sometimes we'd be running up the Mississippi. And so the water would go from salt to fresh, depending on where we were fishing at.
Well, this is non-toxic to humans, pets, and obviously fish. You know, it's a single-phase, full-function water conditioner. It works really great. A half-ounce treats 25 gallons. It tweets it.
It tweets
25 gallons of water.
Okay, Tweety.
Next, we got the Stealth 65S. We've got the Alvi 65S, which is the reel there, which is really a game changer. It's made out of the strongest stuff, really light material. It's got a grade 5 titanium spindle inside that this whole reel spins on, inside of a CNC machined friction tube. It's got a titanium handle on the, for the handles there, carbon fiber handle plate. The whole thing's made out of carbon fiber or Delrin. It's really, really tough thing. They have a destruction test. They couldn't destroy it. They got a 10-year salt and sand warranty on it, as all Alvi reels do. Their surf reels, their side casts. Holds ungodly amount of 15-pound test braid, probably 1,000 yards plus. You can cast. I cast with mine. I have the exact same one at home. I use it constantly to catch pompanos and permits and whatever's in the surf. I can cast 100 yards without even trying with a 4-ounce weight when it's paired on that Stealth rod that you got there too. That's the new Stealth rod. It's an R65S.
I can't believe how light and stiff it is.
Yep, it's graphite carbon composite. The tip is not as stiff. It actually will load up really good with a 3 or 4 ounce weight and give you those long casts. It's got Fuji guides. It's got the newly designed seat for the reel.
Right.
Comes obviously. It's got the low seat position for the Alvi side cast. It's made for it, especially for that 65S reel. When you got them paired together, you can't believe how light it is. And strong.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't beat them up. That's the main thing about them. You can't destroy
10-year
them.
warranty against salt and sand.
Correct.
So where do we go?
AlviUS.com.
Dave, I'm
Awesome.
really, for long cast, this is the only option anymore.
I think.
It's changed my life.
I think so.
And
you don't have to worry about a
something else
backlash.
that changed my life was our co-host over there, Brie.
Say,
8 years ago, she came to work for us. Thank you, Brie.
oh my gosh, don't even start. I'm really emotional these
Wow.
days. Let's head into the Reel Legends Southwest region, where Captain Ronnie Houston is giving us water condition insights from the effects of Tropical Storm Elsa. So tell us what we're catching this weekend, Ronnie.
Well, I'll tell you what, although marlin is not common in the region, I'm truly impressed with some of the reports I get for some of these captains, especially Mike Gavin with the red groupers. Now, Marco de Sanibel, 155 to 175, and there's a reason for that. Due to the recent tropical storms that passed in the Gulf waters and the rains we're having, even though the water looks sort of green, it was cloudy. So having to run until the water cleaned up, getting to those depths of 155 to 75, moving around was the key, and then also you got to have those baits on the bottom. Once we did that, it didn't take long in order for us to catch limits, but alternating cut baits and moving around without staying in places too long also got us a variety of porgies while we were fishing for those groupers, but no red snappers. Also alternating the weight size due to the current, and the cut baits included herring, cigar minnows, and squid, but most quality fish did come off the squid. I got a couple recent pictures of a trip I just went on last week of some quality size red groupers, and the reports have been on cue for the last couple weeks by those guys. Second species is going to be the red snappers. Now, with only a couple weeks, the bite remains consistent right now from Wiggins Pass to Boca Grande, which I thought was kind of curious, Mike, running to the north. Finding clean water and alternating depths until you got a solid red snapper bite, and it won't take long once you find them to get a limit. Now, these depths were 175 to 190. Here again, moving around, you can spot these fish on the bottom finder 30 to 50 feet off the bottom. Then also look for the bait piled up, tight, staying on the bottom. But once you drop down the bait, as quick as you drop it down, you better be ready to click over. Cut baits can be used, but I'll tell you what, the live pinfish and the cigar minnows were the bonus. If you can get them, they're producing limits quick once you get in the right area, but also the key to success is going to be watching that bottom finder, and I got a couple quality pictures of some nice red snappers that we did catch. Truly impressed with the XTO 425. Getting out there quick and being home by 2 was truly impressive. The inshore side, the triple tails, Lossman's River to Pavilion Key. Concentrate your efforts right now on park boundary markers, near shore wrecks, outer Gulf Island points with current, and due to the recent rains and the time of year, the fry bait. I'm going to concentrate on blowdowns along with deadwood along the shorelines. Now, mostly a sight fishing pattern, typically getting on the trolling motor and covering water, or running and keeping your eyes open, especially along the tide line. 2 to 3/0 trocar circle hooks, or a variety of 1/8 ounce to 1/4 ounce bass assassin jig heads. You can use live or cut shrimp, along with finger mullet, pilchards, or simply use cut mullet and ladyfish, along with soft plastic bass assassin, root beer, shrimp, or paddle tails. Got a recent picture of an inshore triple tail caught down in the southern end of the region. Last species is going to be, which has truly been getting better, the juvenile tarpon. The recent rains have increased the bite, especially areas of freshwater flow like the Peace River, east of US 41, the Caloosahatchee River, Estero Bay along the east shoreline, and Everglades National Park from Dad's Bay to Rogers River Bay, concentrating your efforts there on feeder creeks and points with current. You can use a variety of flies, 4 to 5 inch plastic jerk baits, and 3 to 4 inch walk the dog lures as prop baits. Chugging lures, colors to be black and gold, white, chartreuse, and orange. Those are great water colors used in tannic water. Got a picture of a nice juvenile tarpon, recently caught by Captain Joe Casero. And 2 quick questions for Rick. Well, how did you figure out about the thin wall socket on the tips you gave last week about the trailer? And what do you think about the recent upgrades you and I and a couple other guys are running on the Rodan trolling motors?
Well, certainly the upgrades on the Rodan trolling motor are huge. The bracket seems to be a whole lot more sturdy than it was before, but more importantly, that key fob, you can operate the thing from the parking lot essentially. So we weren't getting any interference from the electronics like we used to get, because not only did they upgrade it, but they changed the signal to get away from the electronics. As far as the shallow socket or the light socket, what's really important about that, I learned the hard way. I had a flat tire at the boat ramp, went to put my 4-way on there, Ronnie, and guess what? It was too thick to go between the mag wheel and the lug nut itself. I needed a very thin-walled socket, and now I just carry one with a breaker bar in my truck to make sure that it's always ready to go.
Thanks for the great tips.
All right, bud, thank you. Good questions, and it's going to go ahead and take a look at the Caddy Can hotspots from the Southwest region. Captain Ronnie said snook nighttime along the intercoastal docks and seawalls, Carlos Pass to Gordon's Pass. Good moving water can be the key to catching those snooks. And then offshore, cobias, Wiggins, south fishing artificial reefs, head out. Towers and wrecks are also going to be a good place to look for those cobias using live herring, pinfish, cigar minos, and blue runners.
Hey there, you just, dropped the mic with those questions.
I didn't even know that was coming.
I know you didn't, that's why. Were you nervous?
Never.
Never. All right, now through July 20th, make sure you head to reallegends.com to shop for the ever popular, ever comfortable short sleeve woven shirts for men, which you've worn before.
Absolutely. Dave's wearing one now.
Yes, he is. Are they everly comfortable, Dave?
They're very nice.
Yes, we'll go to reallegends.com and get you some of those. All right, we're making our way up the West Coast, starting in the Startron Central West and then into the Discover Crystal River Northwest region when we return. And remember to keep up with everything fishing in Florida. Make sure to head on over to our website, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and to see new fishing adventures along with reports, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Captain Rick Murphy. See you soon. My lungs are getting compressed.
Yeah, can you see me all right?
Nope.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Startron, cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. Albi Reels, a better way to fish. Berkeley, your fish, our science. CCA Florida, the voice of recreational anglers for over 35 years. Diamond Fishing Products, our reputation is on the line. Murphy's Law Sport Fishing. Book your trip today at murphyslawsportfishing.com. And Strike Zone Fishing.
than 20 years, anglers everywhere have come to know one thing, that nothing says no to fish bites. We are the Fish Bites Nation, and this is your invitation. So grab some fish bites and get busy casting, because you can't join the nation without doing the catching. Ask for Fish Bites or Fish Bites Fight Club lures, or visit fishbites.com.
Come explore untouched Florida, where you'll step into holy sea cow and fish pristine waters where you'll reel in, whoa! Come discover Crystal River with exciting adventures and incredible surprises everywhere. From exhilarating river adventures to scalloping in the Gulf to delicious fish to fork cuisine, this is the place where you can relax into, Just a short drive from Tampa and Orlando is the amazing Discover Crystal River, Florida. Learn more at discovercrystalriverfl.com.
Service and reliability makes Alta Equipment the leader for all your construction equipment needs. With 7 locations across Florida and preferred brands like Volvo, Toro, Talk, Avant, and Roadtech, Alta has the equipment to get the job done.
When I need equipment, I trust Alta.
From agriculture to landscape to construction, Alta has you covered. For sales, rentals, service, and parts, see your local Alta Equipment dealer today or call them at 844-GO-TO-ALTA.
Welcome back. The Startron Central West region is probably known better for species other than marlin, but if you want them, Captain Jeff Page is telling us how we can get them.
That's right.
Jeff, where are you at?
I'm right here, and you're right. It's not a destination for marlin, but after talking to my good friend Captain Chris Seeger of Tight Lines, they go out and they start in 600 feet of water on out. Chris likes to troll a lot of the lures. Dave's been talking about the black bark, and he likes to also troll rig ballyhoo. And he's looking for any kind of weed line, structures, temp breaks, and always paying attention for birds, of course. And the Florida Steps, which is 125 miles offshore, is a good area to start as well. He says 30 to 50 pound class tackle is good. He likes fishing early in the morning and late in the afternoon. So during the middle of the day, he's either deep dropping or traveling. We've got a photo tonight of from Family Matters, Captain Chris Seeger, and that's Stacy Capt in the back of the boat with young, but now he's all grown up, Rick. That's young Mikey Veneto that you did the Sportsman Adventures with you 12 years ago.
Yep, when we were catching tarpon.
Yep.
All right, what else you got for me offshore, bub?
Wahoo, Captain Tim No of Offshore Gulf Ventures, has been doing real well in his last 3 trips out. He's picked up wahoo on his long trips, and he's been starting in 200 to 250 feet of water. Same thing as the marlins, paying attention for birds, weed lines, temp breaks, and he's been trolling plugs and live bait. And I got a photo tonight of Captain Tim on the left, and then his first mate, Anthony Scott, and the birthday boy, Ryan Brown, that caught that big wahoo.
Nice. All right, let's go inshore, bub.
Snook fishing, you know, the beach snook fishing is probably the most consistent, and also in the passes. If you're going to fish the passes of the beach, it's a good idea to use light tackle, live bait. If you're going to throw fly, a white fly or a white soft plastic. If you like throwing plugs, I suggest get up in the bay around the oyster bars, Terracea Bay, Doe Bay, and of course Longbar Point. Throw your topwater plugs like your Jaywalker 120. I like it. It's a little bit bigger, throws a little further. Outgoing tide's been a little bit better than on the incoming. Live pinfish or grunts for your big fish at night. I've got a snook photo tonight of longtime friend Bud DeRozier and his 2 grandsons, Kylan and Reagan. And they caught a nice snook with me last week.
Yes, they did.
Cool. Last species, redfish. You know, we've had a lot of rain, Rick, and when we get a lot of rain in July and August, that only means one thing, redfish. Captain Griffin Dean, Captain Gary Huffman, and Larry Maroney all reported good redfishing around the mouth of the Manatee River and all up into Terracea Bay. High tide's been the better bite because it puts those fish up against the shoreline where you can catch them. Live pinfish or threadfin herring have been working well. If it's artificials, it's tough to beat a fish fight shrimp on a 1/4 ounce jig head or a Gold Johnson weedless spoon. My last photo tonight is of a happy couple with a nice redfish they caught with Captain Simon of Bayshore Charters out of Cortez.
All right, Captain Page, I got a question for you. You know, you talk about the Jay Walker quite often. You like the 120 more than the 100. I like the 100. Why do you like the 120 so much?
I like, because I haven't had very many calm days, and that extra little bit of length and the little bit more diameter gives that a little more buoyancy and keeps it up above that chop.
And I think also because, as you said earlier in your report, you can certainly just throw it a lot further with that diamond.
Yeah, you'll get an extra 10 yards out of your cast, yeah.
Yep. Unless you're having to cast against me.
Whoa.
I'd be loading it up with the diamond, throwing it long.
All right.
All right, we're out.
Cut him off, Paige.
Paige just cut me off. See you later next week, Paige. Daiquiri Deck Hot Spots. Captain Page says, enjoy the speckled trout. Fish the deep grass flats off of Emerson Point with topwater plugs like the Berkeley Jay Walker 100. Focus on the raised up schools of hatchbait. And then offshore, mangrove snapper, a good bite in 70 to 90 feet of water off of Anna Maria. Used live or chunk pilchard on a 2.0 trocar circle hook with 25 to 30 pound diamond fluorocarbon leader.
Rick was shut down.
He does it to me. He's ready for night-night.
That happens.
He's ready for night-night.
He's like, all right, snooze
He's
fest.
ready.
Bye. Marlin in the Discover Crystal River Northwest region is also a possibility, but commitment is key, and you're going to have to go the distance. So, Hag, tell us what we're going to have to do.
Marlin, you're going to have to make a long run on this coast. Most of the guys that are doing it do an overnight trip to make it worthwhile and fish a couple days out there. We got a few tournaments that still target them, the Old Salts, Sarasota Loop Tournament, and the Sarasota Slam. They're all producing some marlin at times, and then usually sword fishing at night. But all the standard stuff works that been talked about. Soft heads, Islanders, blue and white's real popular here. Purple and black's really also popular here. As far as other baits, naked ballyhoo, either with a skirt or without a skirt, live baits, smaller bonitas, 2 to 6 pounds, skipjack tuna, small blackfin tuna are all great live baits. Staying offshore, Captain Rob Davenport of Big Nasty Charters out of St. Pete reports red snapper bites still been remaining really strong in 150 to 200 feet of water. Knocker rig with 6 to 8 ounces of lead, a 5/0 to 7/0 circle hook, and 80-pound mainline 80-pound fluorocarbon leader. Threadfin herring, cut squid are still the baits of choice, and vertical jigs are also working really well. And I've got a photo here of a nice American snapper.
Nice.
Ooh,
That's yummy. Oh,
Yummy, yummy, yummy.
all right.
Moving inshore, Captain Mario Costello of Tall Tales Charters fishing out of the Plantation Inn on Crystal River reports a good snook bite right now around the mangrove shorelines from Crystal River to Homosassa. Easy free line and a live pinfish or mud minnow on a 4/0 circle hook at the beginning of the incoming tide. They're staging in the deeper potholes and relatively close to the trees, waiting for that water to come around the corners. Snook right now in his area are ranging anywhere from 25 to 35 inches. Moving down the coast a little bit, Captain Jimmy Huddleston of CaptainHud.com out of Ozona Fish Camp reports big snook are finally starting to chew a little better on the stronger outgoing tides. He's using a 2-ounce lead and hooking a pinfish with a 5/0 trocar hook and pegging them down the current. He's using 40-pound fluorocarbon leader. And like I said, that 5/0 trocar is really sticking them well and catching some good fish in the passes. And I've got a couple photos from both Captain Mario and Captain Jimmy with some great snook. Those are some good ones right there.
Yes, sir. One skinny one and one monster. Looking good. All right, tell me about the
Captain
scallops.
Gary Bartell of Venture Forest out of Dorothy Marina says he's had the best scallop season start ever, anywhere from big bird rack in Homosassa to Gomez Rocks and Crystal River, anywhere from 2 to 6 feet of water. He's targeting the shorter turtle grass patches between all the tall turtle grass patches, And a helpful tip, he said, is to swim against the current so you can see down into the grass as the grass is bent over by the tide. Scallops are typically laying deeper in that grass, and I've got a couple scallop photos and a couple that you might know.
Yeah.
Oh, there we are. Look at Mia's pose. I swear, she's just
like,
a little.
Look at, she even bends
fish face
the leg
with
and
her
everything.
leg.
I got a quick question for you,
man.
Hag. So tell me what your favorite way to have scallops. I know that we had a scallop shooter. Why don't you tell everybody what that is?
Scallop shooter, we take them and we clean them right there in the boat and add a little spiced rum to them, and right there, eat them raw, a little squeeze of lime, and down the hatch they go. Nothing better.
Just add rum. And
Yeah.
everything's
Just add
fine.
rum.
That's
Just add rum to anything, and that's Jeff Hageman's recipe.
It's like bacon. It makes everything better.
Exactly.
I love it.
I forgot what that was like.
Give Mama a kiss for me and Brie, and we will talk to you later. It's time for the Ozella Key Marina hot spots from the Northwest region. He says snook along the beaches and passes, try pinfish and grunts drifted on the outgoing tide. And then offshore mangrove snapper on high relief structure from 40 to 75 feet of water. Use small pinfish and cut sardines. Brie, what are you doing?
Oh, it's just hot in here.
You're having
That's
a
all.
hot flash?
I think I am. Yeah, yes. But anyway, we're talking about
Guys.
scallops, right? So this year was amazing. We went last year.
Right.
It was
Yeah,
okay. We
yeah.
struggled a little bit. We still
Yeah.
got some for dinner. But this year, every time I went down, I saw 2 or 3, and it was amazing. They were all over the water. It was shallow. The water clarity was great.
So what did I ask about that while we were there, Brie? And
Yeah.
some of the opinions were that when you have storms go by, or we've had several days of west wind on the Gulf Coast leading to the storm going by, but it happens that the scallops get kind of washed
Pushed
in
in, yeah.
because they get the current and they can kind of on in.
Makes sense.
It was
Speaking
fun.
of, Mia got her first little scallop
I
snip.
remember her
She
crying,
screamed.
screaming.
Oh, it was
She pulled it up and there's scallops hanging on the end of her little
It's
finger.
not okay. All right, hang in there, my marlin catching muses. We're talking with our last captain in the Real Legends Central East region next, only on the Florida Insider Fishing Report, so stay hooked. Marlin catching muse, you like that?
I like it.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Fenwick. The Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. The IGFA. Fish for the World. Noble Air Charters. Raising the bar yet again. Sportsman's Adventures with Captain Rick Murphy. Fishing for adventure. Real Legends. Everything you need to live life local. And Taco Marine. Troll the edge.
It's one of the most ancient forms of hide and seek known to man. And nobody knows how to play the fishing game better than the backcountry guides and offshore captains of the Florida Keys and Key West. Ready or not, here we come.
At Florida Coast Equipment, we understand you don't work banker's hours. So neither do we. You have a business to run, you have a family to feed, and you need your machine up and running. So our service team and our parts department will be there. If that means we have to stay late, we'll do it. If we have to start early, we'll do it. Because at the end of the day, you want equipment you can depend on and people you can trust, and we have a service team that will be there to service you.
Pump up the performance in all of your engines. Kick your gas into gear with StarTron.
I'm Captain Rick Murphy, and I'm a life member of CCA. Why am I so involved with CCA, you ask? Because I want our fisheries to be in better shape for my kids and their kids. CCA is working to ensure the future of recreational fisheries and the rights of recreational anglers. The future of fishing starts today with you. How do you want to leave things with your kids? If you're like me, you'll want to make the right choice and go to joinccaflorida.com right now.
Today's Power Pole tip, we're talking about the Power Pole Micro. After being introduced a few years ago, the Power Pole Micro has taken off and has become popular on small skiffs like my Maverick Micro here and boats up to 1,500 pounds, also canoes, john boats, kayaks, and now more popular than ever on paddleboards. The cool thing about the Micro is that it's easily installed with 4 or 5 screws to the back deck of your boat or front of your boat. It can also be installed on the side of a john boat or canoe with a clamp-on accessory, and it comes with a 15-foot power cord which runs to the boat 12-volt battery, or like I have on this one, has a lithium-ion rechargeable battery that's good for 100 cycles up and down. The neat thing about the Micro is, like the big power poles that are on your big bay boats, it's swift, silent, and secure, and runs strong all day long. For more information on the Micro, go to powerpole.com, and that's today's Power Pole tip.
Just like me, Brie, swift, silent, and secure.
You're very secure, Rick. All right, let's see if Captain Jim Ross in the Real Legend Central East region can point us in the right direction when it comes to landing a marlin, big or small, actually. Hey, Jim.
Rick, you're full of them, buddy, I tell you.
He really is. So many of them. I just can't. Go ahead.
I tell you, the guys in my region, we don't catch a lot of marlin on the western edge of the Gulf Stream. We do get them once in a while, but if you really want to target marlin, then you want to go to the east side of the Gulf Stream. And a lot of the times, guys that are over there trolling for yellowfin tuna actually catch them as bycatch. And most of our marlin aren't real big. 125 to 150 pounds is probably an average fish, but you can catch them up into the 250-pound range. Big trolling lures, big chuggers, big big lures that look like some of those yellowfin tuna, blackfin tuna, skipjack tuna that the marlin feed on are what you want to pull. So you really can't pull one that's really too big. One of the guys that I talk to on a regular basis about fishing over on the other side is Captain Ed Dwyer. And in the past, he's told me that one of the better ways that you can find marlin versus other fish is concentrate on the small packs of birds better than the big packs of birds. Or better yet, if there's some single frigate birds working, definitely key in on those frigate birds because they're typically following one big fish, just waiting for it to go up and scatter some bait that it can swoop down and then pick up. Like I said, most of our fish are 125, 150. They do range up to 400 on occasion. And like I said, they're not super targetable, but they are available, especially for those guys that are on the eastern side of the Gulf Stream. Now, our second species offshore is amberjack, and they're a solid bet right now for you guys that are getting out onto the deeper reefs and wrecks. And we had a lot of current over last weekend's snapper rodeo, and the structures in 180 to 260 feet right now are in the Gulf Stream. So you're talking about 5, 6 knots of current on most days, but there's a bunch of reef donkeys on those structures right now. Live croakers, blue runners, sardines, pogies, any kind of live bait like that. You drop that thing down. Make sure that you're way up from the current though, or way up from the structure, because that current is going to push you by it pretty quickly. You want to make sure that you're getting the baits down to the proper level. Heavy tackle is a must on the AJs, and even though most of our fish are only say 25 or 30 pounds, you've got to get them to the boat really quick. If you're fishing with a vertical speed jig, once again, tackle, use a heavier leader, get those fish up, because our sandbar sharks are voracious, and anything that gets hooked over some of these wrecks, you're gonna get sandbars chasing them. So heavy tackle is a must, no matter if you're using that live bait or those vertical jigs. But you know what? There's some fish out there, some big ones out there. A good friend of mine the other day caught one that was in the mid 80-pound range. So just because there's a couple of 25s and 30s around doesn't mean you can't get a big boy. One of those reef donkeys of that size will absolutely kill you. And then I wanted to show that, a couple of pictures. I did have one picture here that I threw in real quick of the red snapper with my son, Captain Justin. Now, you didn't have to go deep to catch red snapper. That fish was actually caught in about 53 feet of water. And you can catch those. We were catching those fish all the way out to 250 feet. It seemed like the southern part of the region was better than the northern part of the region last week. So that's kind of a recap on the red snapper. Now, swinging inshore, Rick, speckled trout are still solid right now. Captain Matt Lee of CodeRedFishingCharters.net has been getting good numbers in the upper Mosquito Lagoon. Matt says the key to it is live croakers, pigfish, or pinfish. You got to oink those pigs. You got to croak those croakers. I would just try not to get pinned by those pinfish, if you know what I'm saying. But right now, working the edge of the mullet pods or anywhere where there's rocks. And then also in the Banana River and Indian River, this past week in particular, one of my best weapons has been the Saltwater Assassin 2-inch crappie dapper. And that little lure, it's a little sea shad style lure that you'd use for speckled perch, but in the smoke and shad color or the gray ghost color and a 1/8 ounce little spring lock jig head, this thing is killing the big trout right now. I mean, we're getting trout consistently 18, 19, 20 inches, and some of them are in the mid 20-inch range, and they're hitting these little tiny paddle tails. Got a photo of one of Captain Matt Lee's charters trouts here, and that was caught around a spoil island. And you can find him at CodeRedFishingCharters.net.
Quickly on the snook, bub, quickly.
Now, my last species is snook. Right now, my Real Legends region has good snook all the way through them. Flats, you want to look for bait pods, creek mouths, and water outflows, and spoil islands, especially as you get to the south part of the region. And then in the north part of the region, around just about every dock in Oak Hill or Ponce Inlet right now has them around it. Live shrimp working really good. The 5-inch Saltwater Assassin and the Houdini or the Gold Pepper Shiner is working really good as well. And I have got one last photograph here, and that is Miss Robin Ross, not Robin Carpenter anymore, Miss Robin Ross with a nice snook that she caught.
We got to go, bud. All right, we got to take a look at the Rodin's Marine Systems hotspots. Thanks, Jim. He says inshore speckled trout in the Mosquito Lagoon, use live pigfish or croakers near the mullet pods, spoil islands, and oyster bars. Offshore, amberjacks on the reef and wrecks in 180 to 260 feet of water, use live baits, vertical jigs for fish up to 45 pounds.
All right, well, I'm ready to go catch me a marlin. I don't know about all of you, but the reports are in and you have all the tools. So when we come back, we're gonna tell you what to be out on the hunt for next week. What do you think it is, Rick?
I don't know. But you're gonna tell me, I know.
I will.
All right.
Like I always do.
Your time on the water is precious. You return season after season to make unforgettable memories, fight a few fish, reconnect with friends, and recenter yourself. If you count on having this time, you need an outboard you can count on to power it. That's why boaters stay with Yamaha for the long run, for life. They know reliability starts here.
We are for those who know that opportunity is nothing without preparation, those who know that the right gear can make or break a day. Born out of a need for reliability, tested and proven on the Miss Brit charter fleet. From terminal tackle to all your live bait needs, whether you're fishing for fun or looking to win a tournament, R&R Tackle has what you need to stay ready.
Yeah.
Next week, we're talking mangrove
snappers.
I can't.
Oh,
I just can't do it justice. You have to say the S word.
I know.
So make sure to tune in. And guys, thanks for tuning in tonight. I'm so happy that we had youth winners on set. That's so awesome. And their families. And go catch those marlin. We'll see you next week.
Good snow tonight, guys. Good snow.
Yeah.